What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Latin Explaining. My name is Denise Gonzalez. For the people that are new here, I'm so glad to be here because you guys know today, whoo, this has been madness. Madness. That's what we're witnessing. Before I start, I see that we already have some people tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know how is my audio before I start. Is it good? Can you guys hear me well? I'm here chilling. I know it's late, but it's Friday. Come on. Friday, we don't have nothing to do. We just went through a whole week. To the people that are coming in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, share it, invite other people over. We're going to talk about Zelensky visiting the Oval Office, and we're going to jump right in because as much as I would want to share my opinion, uh, there's a lot that we have to that has to be unfolded here. Well, for the people that have been living under a rock, Zelensky made an appearance today on the Oval Office, and it did not went down the way a lot of people thought it was going to go down. It went down very bad. It started going right, like at first when I started watching it, because I was minding my business, going about my day, baking some cookies and dealing with some glitter, and all of a sudden I get a message from MK, and he's like, "Did you see what happened in the Oval Office? This president is talking crazy." And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down, chill out, and see what's going on with President Zelensky, if we can call him that, because I don't believe his people will elect this man. But anyway, jumping right into it, we're gonna, hey Mulatto, what's up? Um, we're gonna jump right into it. I don't know if you watch the whole visit, the whole video that's out for the media when President Trump, JD Vance, Mark Rubio, and Zelensky are sitting down discussing this peace treaty. Apparently, 2 days ago, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin uh, also had a phone call. Apparently, Putin made his demands, and now it's Zelensky's turn to come into the table. Todo bien, mulato, todo bien, y tú? So I see that this man is trying to broker some peace. Now, this is what Donald Trump campaigned on. And before anybody jumps into this, I want you guys to remember that this is what Donald Trump has been trying to broker ever since his first term. This is the reason why he was quote unquote impeached. A lot of people don't know this, but I think I even asked people on my show previously if they knew why Donald Trump was impeached the first time. And the reason why he was impeached is because he did not want to keep sending weapons to Ukraine. And that's when Russiagate started. And it turns out he wasn't a Russian asset. It's just that he was trying to prevent the carnage that right now it's happening in Ukraine. But before I make my commentary, let's just jump right in. We're gonna see what's up. I'm gonna interrupt here and there. You guys know how we rock over here, but we're gonna see for the most part what's going on with President Zelensky and Donald Trump and the visit in the Oval Office with the press. Let's jump right in.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine. And we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time and very well. We had a little negotiation spat, but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth. But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States, and we appreciate working with you very much, and we will continue to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal, but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of
every month. This Airbnb.
Now, before we watch this commercial, which I'm definitely not gonna present to you guys, but as you guys can see, Trump is already talking about the raw earth we're gonna get from the Ukrainians and the stuff that they're gonna give us, etc., as basically a compensation for us not only brokering this deal, but also for us giving them weapons. Because last time I checked, we are the country that's giving the most weapons to Ukraine, and that is billions and billions of dollars that we're not putting into our economy. So let's continue to hear what he has to say, and let's pay close attention to Zelensky's body language, because he is pissed. You guys are gonna notice how he gets pissed throughout the whole conversation. Let's continue.
At this point, but soldiers being killed, you're losing thousands of soldiers. So on both sides, we're losing a lot of soldiers, and we want to see it stop. And we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding. And we're going to be working very hard. But we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say, until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that
and he has a point when he's talking here, guys. Let's keep it real. Joe Biden did not have the cognitive. I don't think he was even there. I'm trying to find the right words. I don't think he was in such a decline, cognitive wise, that I don't think he could even hold a conversation with his own wife, let alone with a world leader. And not just any world leader. We're not talking about Macron here or Trudeau. We're talking here about Vladimir Putin, one of the potencies of the world, the empire of the East. So yeah, there was no conversation. Like, a lot of behaviors remain unchecked, and that is what Donald Trump has to assess. And I would share more like later on. Let's continue.
In front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. If I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through what you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself, in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters, and you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough.
Now you see how Donald Trump is focusing on the lives of the soldiers, because one thing that you can go as far as Achilles, and you will find that this all wars, or if you want to get biblical, you can go as far as David and Goliath, and these wars that these kings and presidents and prime ministers and like to put their people to fight, they never fight them. If we put in a room Putin and Zelensky to fight it out, since they don't like each other that much, I don't know if Zelensky will win, but I don't even know what's gonna happen. But that's not how wars are going down. Wars go down at the expense of the soldiers, and Ukrainians are in like carnage state. There's thousands and thousands of Ukrainians that are dying daily at this very moment as we talk. So notice how Zelensky says that he is grateful and thankful to his soldiers, but like he's not thinking about that. He's parading himself throughout the world, asking for more money and more weapons and to be included in NATO, etc., etc. Now let's continue with this. I'm gonna skip through it a little bit because you guys have seen this, I'm pretty sure, several times, because I want to get to the point in which it gets a little more heated. So I'm gonna skip through it a little bit. You guys have seen how he already like gave Donald Trump his list of, Ukrainian prisoner.
Yesterday, are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in peace? There's no peace.
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine. Yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly.
You see, he said he's going to
sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But we very much appreciate the agreement because we needed what they had, and we're treating, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started. But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done.
Hey, if you live in one of these
you
cities
see,
right
he said
here,
that he wants to get it done quickly. He is going to send weapons, which is something that I don't know how the MAGA cult is feeling. Like, are you guys feeling this from Donald Trump, that he wants to end it quickly, but he's still going to send weapons?
I don't want to talk
You
about
guys take
security
this
yet
as lip
because I want to get the
service?
deal
Is it
done.
like,
You
I
fall
want to
into the
know
same
from
trap
the
like
MAGA
everybody else. A
perspective, like, how do
million
you guys
times you said
feel?
over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stopped shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably, we have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country.
So that's something that a lot of people are not talking about. It's like, we're gonna, for the first time, ask Ukrainians for something in return. No longer are we going to feed Ukrainians with weaponry. So this war is not only costing Zelensky and Ukrainians money, it's costing them their safety, it's costing them now their resources, it's costing them their relationships with the world, plus it's costing them Ukrainian lives and infrastructure, just because one man wants so many weapons. And like, again, I'm gonna keep skipping through it because I know you guys have watched a lot of times what has been going down and how it gets heated. It precisely gets more heated as JD Vance gets inserted in the conversation. So I'm gonna try to get to that point, because it gets a little cringe as to Zelensky keeps acting gangster. Hey, Don Armando, what's up? He keeps getting gangster when he cannot. But let's continue.
We spoke to him about that yesterday, and we thought they took it very, very much too far. JD was very strong on it. So was I. So was Marco. And we've been speaking to him about it. Marco, would you like to say something about that?
We have concerns, obviously, with the conduct of theirs, particularly as it impacts Americans. And there's real concern that American speech, which is online, could fall into the hands of British or any country's jurisdiction. And so this is a point the Vice President made at Munich, and I think is a very compelling one, that what unites us with Europe, as much as anything else, is these shared values, and one of them being free speech. And so if Americans are threatened by it, we're going to need to take action in that regard.
Mr. President.
It's actually a very important question.
We spoke about this in detail with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, and others at lunch yesterday. And I know that Secretary of Commerce Lutnick followed up in private meetings last night. This is really important. We believe Americans have the right to speak their mind, even if we in this room disagree with them. They have the right to speak their mind in the public square, which is often online these days. And we're going to defend that right as it pertains to American companies and American citizens vigorously if we have to. I do think that under the president's leadership, we're going to find common ground with our friends in the UK on this question, but it remains to be seen. The principle that will guide us is we believe in free speech in this country and we'll fight for it for American citizens.
100%.
On the deal, is there any other oil and gas component to the deal? Is it all
A
critical
little bit, we'll see,
on LNG?
but we're not really looking for that so much. We got a lot. We have more than anybody in the world by far.
What
So
about-
no, we're not talking about it too much, but a little bit. I think it affects also, but for the most part, no.
And sir, is there any agreement from Ukraine to purchase US LNG as part of the deal, or is
No.
that on the table at all?
No,
Some of those-
we don't need that.
Some of those
Mr. President, I
minerals
just
are in
wanted
the
to ask you
Mr.
about,
President.
you just mentioned that you'd spoken to Vladimir Putin a couple of days ago. Just to be clear, that's a new call, not the one that you.
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
Okay. And how was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am, I'd love to know.
It went well. I think
Notice how people often laugh as an undertone. There's something that I don't know if you guys are gonna catch the culture that we're in, which is very dangerous, because what this video shows, at least to me, I could be wrong, but if you're a fellow American and you sense the same thing at some point, leave your comment below, because this video is the biggest proof of the culture that Americans and the micro and the macro are experiencing when it comes to the world, like the disrespect, the disregard, and the condescending treatment from the world. Let's continue.
we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest
Well,
there?
$180,000
This
and get my entire car loan
I don't know
paid
if you
off.
guys are
I'm getting all
catching
of this.
what's
for free.
going on
See, I bought a new
so
car. Now
far, but they're talking about the
Well, we'll
negotiations
take a
and
look
how they're
at
gonna
the
go
time. We
down.
have a lot of area.
Hey, Irby, what's up?
It's a very big area.
Please
we're talking
like the
about. So
video,
we'll take a
share
look.
it.
I'll study that. and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian
They'll be
forces?
protected. The agreement will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement. You
Right,
know?
but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in their spots?
I just told you, I don't think that's gonna happen. And if that were gonna happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was gonna happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder
You know,
why.
they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings. I don't think they're gonna survive. Let's go. Please, go.
One more, since I already mentioned Poland.
Yes, Irby.
Poland was
Yes.
under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country,
Right.
richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Now
Well, if I
I'm
do-
gonna stop here. If you guys catch it, this is a Polish guy, a guy from Poland. It's a reporter asking like why Donald Trump aligns too much with Putin. And this is something that a lot of people just don't get. The United States of America, if you study anything regarding World War II, we were not supposed to get involved in that war. We were called by our fellow friends in the UK, the Brits, to rescue them from the Nazis. So we didn't want to get involved. We were at Pearl Harbor chilling, having a good time, having some beers and stuff. And we got involved because of what happened at Pearl Harbor. That was the only reason why we got involved, because let's not forget the president at that time told parents that he was not going to send their sons to war, and ended up doing that. Donald Trump and America cannot, I repeat, we cannot afford to send people to war or to escalate into World War III. I don't care what's happening. I don't care from where it comes. I do not care if I don't care. We have to find a way to encourage world leaders to search and strive for peace, because we cannot afford that. I'm not sending my son, because these wars tend to take years to resolve. So unless, for the people that are pandering to Ukraine and trying to make Zelensky have an overinflated ego, which is what happened today, we saw it, with thinking that American lives are at his disposal, then you go and fight. How about we start a voluntary program? You go in the quality of a mercenary, not as an American. We don't want no parts of that. Go as a mercenary by yourself, sell your services to the government of Ukraine, and you go and serve as a Ukrainian tribute, and you fight to keep them safe. But if you don't want to do that, then you got to let Americans stand up for themselves, because we cannot afford to send a battalion of American men and women to fight a war that's going to end up in carnage. We don't have the military capacity to withstand a Russian attack. We're not talking about Venezuela. I think people just don't realize that this is not Cuba. This is not Venezuela. This is not Nicaragua. We're not talking about Hawaii. We're talking about one of the biggest, most advanced military titans of the world. You do not, I repeat, do not want to mess with that. That I don't want to mess with that. Irby says, I want to know how this whole war started. This war started, Irby, when Ukrainians, a faction of Ukrainians, thought that they could separate from Russia, even though a lot of them have been Russian and acknowledged Russia as, their nationality, their language, but they wanted to become autonomous. So they considered the invasion on 2014 to Crimea. They considered Russians coming in as an invasion. In reality, Russians' version is that Ukraine started becoming gangster and becoming more militarized and organizing to attack Russia. So Russia felt threatened, and in 2021, was it 2021, 2022? Russia warned, I think 2 times, Ukraine to de-escalate military assembly. They refused because they consider themselves autonomous, or at least that's what Zelensky says. And that's it. That's what started the war. Russia started the war because they claim Ukraine is part of Russia. That's it. This is what's up. And we'll continue. And after that, it's something along those lines. Yeah, Irby. The U.S. got involved because Obama supported Ukraine. The Democrats as a whole, they support Ukraine as a country, and they support Taiwan. It's crazy that the United States supports all these countries, but they don't support Puerto Rico becoming their own country. They don't support Hawaii becoming their own country. They don't support American Samoa becoming their own country. The U.S. Virgin Islands cannot become their own country. Guam is not their own country. It's so crazy. Like it's always the United States, the Democratic faction of the United States, always supporting all these countries that don't want to be a part of the country they belong to, but they refuse to give freedom to the colonies they have. It's like nobody can have colonies but the U.S., according to Democrats. Now, Dave Lee says, Russia thought Zelensky was joining NATO. Yeah, 100%. But he asked for that. If you think about it, he did. If you go back into the news archive, you will see that he did wanted to participate in NATO. He wanted Ukraine to be included in NATO. And imagine right now that Russia comes down to Mexico and starts building across the border placing military forces and then saying, oh, like we're going to include Mexico and BRICS. What do you think will happen? What would you think? I don't know how people can not understand how I'm not against Ukraine or in favor of Russia, but I'm like, there's a point in which you gotta just grasp with reality. You don't have the military infrastructure to defend yourself as a nation. You unfortunately have to depend on a bigger nation, and you have to find a way to make peace with them and work with them. Why? Because you're the little guy. We made it that way. It's just the way it is. And I think that's what Trump trying to explain to Trump, Vance, and Mark Rubio try to explain that to Zelensky. He's in full denial. But let's continue so we can finish this and I can continue with my commentary.
To align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal? It doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America.
Exactly.
And for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world. And I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that. But I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the president of the United States' words mattered more than the president of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
This is the part that mostly like pisses off Zelensky beyond a point of him being able to recognize what he has in his hands. And he gets very heated, like very easily, like a capricious little girl.
Yeah. Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the
something that I'm gonna stop it real quick. Nobody has told Zelensky, and I watched a few reaction videos. He's talking about all the way from 2014 to 2022. Nobody stopped him, bro. People didn't stop Putin because Putin cannot be stopped. Putin is minding his business. He's not trying to start a war either with the world. He is chill in Russia. And don't lie, because that's one thing that, again, I've never seen anybody that's reacting to this tell the truth. Donald Trump did try to not give you freaking weapons. And what he got was a fake impeachment for it. We've all seen it. He tried to stop giving you more weapons because he wanted to avoid this carnage. He wanted to avoid also to be financially responsible for taking care of you. That's something we all watch. Stop lying and saying like, oh, nobody stop him. We're not supposed to stop this guy. If you want to fight him for what he believes is his, which he thinks Ukraine is his, then you got to fight it. That's just how it is. He tried to stop you from going into a war you cannot win. You chose to be the Lulu. That's just what's up. But let's continue, because it gets even worse.
You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed.
You see how he's saying we signed this, we signed that, but look at what Dave Lee said here. This is something that exactly. This is what happened between the ceasefire that was signed with Macron and the quote-unquote invasion of Russia into Ukraine. Zelensky kept pushing for their inclusion in NATO. And we all know what NATO is. I don't have to go deep into that. And why that expansion, again, I've touched on this several times. We are in an agreement with Russia a long time ago that we will not expand NATO. That was an agreement before this whole Ukrainian emboldenment, delusional expired popcorn trip. Okay. We had an agreement with Russia because NATO was formed for, the defense against the Soviet Union. He's talking about USSR as if this is a threat today. It is not. We sign an agreement. We have to honor it. We cannot put you on NATO. We cannot keep expanding NATO. We already went against that agreement several times. And every time we try to keep expanding NATO, Russia kept like, hey, come on, you said you were not going to expand NATO, but you keep expanding, and now you're bringing it to me in Ukraine. Bro, stop acting dense as if you don't know why Putin started the response to what you were doing. You were trying to be sassy and try to be sneaky. Of course, you put your people at risk, and now you're in the middle of hot water and a war you cannot win. You don't know what to do. You don't even know how to step down and accept defeat. Hey, bro, Tap, he says Ukraine has the right to protect its sovereignty, though. Yeah, they do, but do it with your own self. It's the same thing I tell people about Israel and the funding of the Iron Dome. Israel has 100% the right to protect itself. And Ukraine has 100% the right to defend themselves. 100%. Every country has the right to defend themselves. It's just we cannot participate in the supply of that weaponry because America is in a financial mess, and people just don't understand how important that is to get out of that mess. We are printing, and I want people to understand that we are printing $1 trillion every 90 days in order to survive. Let me repeat it again. We are printing $1 trillion every 90 days in order to survive. The Biden administration, that's how they handle the administration. You wonder why eggs are, like we were talking, bro, why eggs are so expensive? That's why. Why groceries are 3 times the price they were back in 2021? That's why. Why gasoline is so expensive? Why goods are expensive? Traveling is expensive. Everything is expensive. Why? Because we kept printing money. They're showing us the GDP. Oh, GDP grew $4 trillion. Yes, but we printed $8 trillion. So we're not in positive. And just people are just not paying attention to those numbers. We're in negative. Because if you're not factoring in the money we're printing more money than what we're producing or how our GDP is going up. We're not in a good position. So how the hell can we keep funding people's right to exist? You're going to have to start making peace, making deals. And that's what Mr. Trump is trying to do. I don't necessarily agree with everything. I'm a moderator. I don't agree with everything Donald Trump says. But so far, I think I've never seen a president, well, I'm alive, of course. I've never seen a president that's pro-peace. So how can anybody be mad at a president that wants peace? Like, I just don't get it. I want somebody that is against what Donald Trump is doing with Ukraine. Please explain to me, how can you be upset at peace? I don't understand it. As the Brotev said, the onus is on NATO to not expand, though. They have a responsibility to reject Zelensky's application. That's not something to address with Ukraine. Yeah, I understand that they didn't accept him because they know that if they do that, it will be World War III. That's why he didn't got accepted. That's it. Now he says this should have been a 2-note song. Zelensky applies for NATO. NATO says no. Yeah, that's how it was. But the problem is that we inflated Ukraine's hopes by providing aid to fight because of public perspective that we manufacture, and we couldn't pedal back. We manufacture, at least here in America, what the Democrats did was just manufacture the consent of their group to believe that printing money to give it to Raytheon and all these military contractors was a good thing to do because we were helping Ukraine from evil Russia. So once you've manufactured that type of consent from the public, it's going to be so hard to pedal back here in American soil with American citizens. It's going to be so hard for them to understand why that's wrong. It's going to be so freaking hard. I don't think people understand that, but from like an American's perspective, a person that's really patriotic, they understand what's going on. Like, if you care about America, you're not going to be on board with what's going on with Ukraine. You're gonna be like, I respect your opinion. If you wanna just have your debacle with Putin, go ahead. I just can't afford to like help you out. That's what's gonna be. Dave Lee said that t-shirt he always wearing is dated. Did you see how that reporter asked him if he has a suit and he got pissy? Yeah. Now let's continue, because like I said, it gets worse, way worse than that.
The exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Mm-hmm. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war,
you see how he
before you
refuses to answer to our vice president that he's in the Oval Office. He's disrespecting the American most powerful office by trying to be sassy and not understand what the problem is, and he doubles down by trying to ask more questions to JD instead of answering
nice ocean
what he asked.
Don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You
God
don't know
bless.
This is
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going
Look
to
at his
feel.
faces.
We're going to feel
Look
very
at
good.
Zelensky's
We're going to
face.
feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be right
From
about
the
it.
very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I
You
was
don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
Yeah, you play
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think
You're gambling with World War III.
What you're
You're
speaking about?
gambling with
What you're
World
speaking
War III. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to you.
Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you
Look at his
once
face.
this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United
Uh-oh.
States of
Speaking
America
about.
and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can.
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's
Can I-
in big
can-
trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn
We-
good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet.
You
and
haven't
not
been
only in
alone.
Look
this
at this
We
part.
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank-
stupid president, $350 billion.
You
We
voted
gave
When he said that, I was like, damn. We gave you through a stupid president $350 billion. He said, Zelensky said, and I was just talking to MK about this. I was just talking to MK about this. Did you guys see the disrespect? Once again, I've watched a lot of political debacles. I've watched a lot of news in my lifetime. And I know I'm still relatively very young, but I've never seen this bold disrespect for American people. And I am pretty sure that you, in some capacity as an American, have felt disrespected by non-American folks in some form. I don't care in what platform, in some capacity you felt it. But I don't know if you guys are catching the tune of a president of, and I'm sorry that I'm gonna say this, but like a lesser country. It's not that Ukrainians are less, that's not what I mean, but it's like a smaller country that's really doesn't even have the capacity to be a country. It should be swallowed by a big empire, because that's what's happening. Coming to America, the place that they're asking for aid because they can't survive on their own, and being so cocky that you try to disrespect the highest office of that country. If that does not scream why Americans should keep doubling down on rejecting the notion that they always have to serve others and forget about themselves, put the world ahead before they put America first. If that does not resonate with you, I'm telling you, if as an American, you don't feel that Americans should put America first, and that Donald Trump is trying to explain that to Zelensky, I don't know where we stand as a country. I think we're pretty much doomed, because a country doesn't serve itself first and its people, it's doomed to fail. Brotep says, you're sounding very colonial there. I don't know what aspect you think is sounding colonial, but if you will care to expand, I would appreciate it. But to be honest, it's very weird to me why this is a conflict. Like, why is it bad for us to try to broker peace? Like, to be honest with you, like I said, I think Donald Trump, if I was Donald Trump, right? If I was Donald Trump, I would be out of this negotiation. And I would be like, you know what, Zelensky, this has nothing to do with me. America is protected. We have nuclear power. We have our own stuff to deal with. We're right now dealing with our own invasion with illegal migrants. And we are going to take care of that. If you want to rock it with Russia, we will pray for you. Godspeed. But we're not, we're out. We're 100% out. That would be me. And I'm pretty sure majority of Americans feel this way. Do not keep engaging in wars that don't have nothing to do with us? Why should we care about what you want to do with your country? That's none of our business. And I think he's trying to be diplomatic about it, but it is 100% true. Like, why it's important for us to stick our noses in an issue that's not ours? He's going out of his way to try to broker a deal so that no more people die, because he said it several times. I just don't want the death to continue. I just want the people that are pro-war, which is baffling, to explain to me, why are you mad that President Trump is trying to broker peace? I want you to explain to me, if you are one of those people that are still salty that Kamala lost and you are a Democrat or whatever the hell you want to call yourself, please explain to me in a logical sense. Please don't try to just tell me stuff that, but this person did that. No. Explain to me in this conflict, why is it wrong for Mr. Trump to broker peace in order to avoid the destruction of Ukraine? Because there is no way they're going to win. And we cannot keep interfering with this at the expense of our own people. Why is it that every other life, and I'm saying this as a Puerto Rican, we are U.S. citizens by birth, but still, I was not born in this soil. I'm watching the Americans with appreciation for their own culture and the Americana, but I have to also side with them. Why is it that only Americans are expected to be expendable? Since when Americans have become the expendable country against everybody else? Why? Israel wants to go into a war with Gaza or the Palestinians. We have to, unfortunately, we have homeless people. We have a dying middle class. We have a lot of issues here. We don't have a public health care that works for people, but somehow we have to defend Israelites. Why? At our expense, at the American people's expense. Why is it more important? Why is it more important to take care of other people at the expense of American lives? I don't understand that. I will never understand that. Never, never, never. Now, Brotev says, yeah, I agree with that, but for you to call Ukraine what you just called it, that they're a lesser country? Brotev, come on, man. Like, respectfully, I'm going to say this very respectfully. In the world, there are metrics. I didn't make them. Right? If it was up to me, everybody will be equal. But that's not true. That's not reality. In the real world, Ukraine is a lesser country. Just like Puerto Rico is a lesser country. That's what we're a colony. And you don't see us whining about it. We're a colony. And even if tomorrow we find a way to become independent or be emancipated, we're still going to have some form of dependence of America military-wise. And we're going to have to give them something as in return for their military backing, because we are a lesser country. We're a smaller country. We're an island that doesn't have the capacity or the infrastructure to defend itself. So yeah, I don't understand. Can you guys hear me? I don't know. Can you guys hear me? Put a number 1 in the chat if you guys can hear me. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Oh yeah, you guys can hear me. Okay, thank you, Brotev. So yeah, I once again, I don't understand why. I don't understand why it's we're in the era of the I'm offended for the sake of being offended. and obviously it's understandable why, if you are in the lesser country or part of the lesser country, you will be the offended part, because nobody likes to lose. Nobody. Do you think I love that we're a colony of the United States? No, but unfortunately, that's our position. We're a tiny island. What else can we do? Am I supposed to just hate Americans because we're a tiny country? They didn't make it this way. Like, come on. That's just what it is. Dave Lee says, Putin keeping what he holding to. Yeah. I don't, again, I'm not trying to be unrealistic here. We have to tell real, we're gonna let Kendrick tell him, that sit down, be humble. Sit down. You don't get it, but let's try to finish this.
Gave
For
you
your
military equipment, and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
in 3
okay?
days? I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I
Accept-
said a lot of
accept
times
that there-
thank you
accept
to
that-
American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long.
If none of your friends have
How
told you
many
about the
days?
skip forever
Yeah,
button,
see,
those
so-
aren't your friends.
You guys still with me? Put a number 1 in the chat if you can hear me. I don't know if you guys still see the issue that I'm talking about. It's like this guy is so out of control. He's arguing.
You're buried there. Your people are
I
dying.
can tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers. Listen,
Don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I wanted this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war,
But you're saying you don't want a
But I
ceasefire.
said to you,
I want a
with
ceasefire
guarantees.
because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That
It
wasn't
doesn't
with
matter for
me.
you what.
That
what
wasn't
is-
with me.
It
That was
wasn't
with
you.
a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your-
with,
it
that
is
was with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make
Uh,
because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
What
She's
if
asking, what if
Putin
Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now?
But they have
Okay?
broken
What if they
ceasefire.
broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
But look,
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that.
Uh-oh.
And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia, the 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened, but he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal,
Not happy with
you're in
that.
a much better
Not
position.
happy.
But
look
you're
at
not
Zelensky's
acting at all
face.
thankful.
Not happy
And
with
that's
that.
not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh?
What's this negotiation?
This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thank you, sir.
I need to back this.
We'll see. I don't know.
Anyway, guys, you guys have seen the carnage that this is. And I don't know if you guys can hear me because I definitely cannot hear me. So if you guys can hear me, please put a number 1 in the chat. If you guys can definitely hear me, put a number 1 in the chat. If you cannot hear me, then ask me why you cannot hear me. If you can't hear me, put a number 1 in the chat. Okay, thank you, Dave Lee. Brotep said Zelensky, Trump, and VP Guy Liner should have been talking about this in private. That room is for photo ops. They made it public, so now I have opinions. None of this should have been my business. You know what, Brotep? I agree with you on 50%. I'm going to tell you what part I agree with you. I do agree that I think Donald Trump set this up so that people could see what was going on. And the part I disagree with you is that I do want to know what's happening with the country. I want to know 100%. I'm a person that that believes that there shouldn't be something called classified unless it's going to put lives really at risk. But otherwise, the public should be informed. And there's something Philip Scott said a while ago, and I appreciate him for bringing that up because it made me think about the amount of people that are okay with letting the country being run and they just participating in it as long as they still get their stuff. And I feel that is the sentiment of a lot of people. That's what they get irritated with talking about politics. It's the same thing that happens when you talk about God in certain spaces. People just get uncomfortable because they're okay if run the country, and as long as I don't have major problems, I don't want to know anything. No, I do want to know how the burger is made. I think we needed the public to see, because remember what I mentioned earlier when I said that we manufacture, the Democrats manufacture a consent from the public with misinformation when it comes to this topic, just so that they could launder money through defense contractors, by claiming they care about Ukrainian sovereignty and autonomy and stuff. Why? It's like, I don't know if you guys remember the Nancy Pelosi fighting to Taiwan like a few years ago, and the Chinese lady telling them, like, why are you guys supporting Taiwan? Like, what if China wants to back up Puerto Rico so they can become free and start like helping them out, backing them up, and turning the United States? You wouldn't like that. So like, it's the same thing you're doing to Taiwan. So yeah, I definitely want to know what is happening. And I think in order for Donald Trump to snap people out of that manufactured consent against their own interest, they had to see how Zelensky operates. So I think, to be honest with you, this was brilliant television, if you ask me. Was it made as a photo op or a video op? 100%. But it was so that people could snap out of that dream and that, faction of, oh, I have to support everything Democrats say because it's the best thing. No, it's against your own best interest. And this man is willing to risk our money, our safety, and the world's lives, like your sons and daughters' lives, in order for him, in his capricious desire to be a country when he cannot be, just for his own ego. Because at the end of the day, this is just about ego. There's always going to be a loser. Even if let's say that we support him all the way and we say, you know what, fuck it, we're going to send troops over there. We're going to send every American soldier, every American person is going to go over there. We're going to fight this war. There's still going to be somebody that's going to lose. And I think the wisest thing that Trump is doing here is being anti-war and understanding that lives are more important than one man's ego. And that's just the way I see it. So yeah, I definitely wanted to see this. I definitely feel like we finally have somebody that's not a weak link in the president's shoes right now. I see that Brotev says there's nothing logically and logistically that you said that I disagree with. What I'm concerned with is there's a right way to address things. This was the right way, Brotev, because the state of we have Americans today. Look, let's go back even to your first comment. If we go back to your first comment, right? You said in your first comment, right? Look, Ukraine has the right to protect its sovereignty, though. That was your first comment. We have people today here, American citizens, that think that we have to defend Ukraine. We still have people today that have the Ukrainian flag in their profile because they think we're doing the right thing by defending Ukraine, not understanding that every man, because I get it, and I'm gonna sound sexist as hell. A lot of these feminists think that they are gonna go fight a war and be a soldier. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm in the kitchen. Keep me in the kitchen. I don't mind. I don't care. I'm in the kitchen, apron and everything, barefoot and pregnant. I'm in the kitchen. But if you really think that you're okay to stomach that every American young man goes to war to carnage, we cannot fucking win. Because let's not forget, Russia has better weapons than us. They have better planes than us. That is a fact. We have not mastered the technology required to win this war. Let that sink in. What is more important? And Americans have a tough choice to make. What is more important to you today? Zelensky's ego or American lives? I'm just going to leave it there. I think American lives are more important than Zelensky's ego. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. It says, Brotov says, Zelensky began to say that we are protected by a vast ocean from militaries that are our equal, and he is correct. No, we're not protected. We're not protected. Do you remember what? Look, there is a lot of scientists that have explained how and how long it will take for the world to obliterate itself with a nuclear war. It will take an hour and a half, honey. An hour and a half, and that's it. You can say goodbye. Game over to everything. That's just, you can be protected by an ocean, but let's not forget again, we're not following the news in the spectrum. Russia has friends out here. All Russia has to do is go to our enemies in Cuba and say, hey, can I position stuff here? That's it. Bye. What ocean is dividing us? It's not. We need to mind our own business, rebuild America, focus on Americans, and leave Zelensky and his ego to fight it out. I think Donald Trump is even trying to overextend himself. He's doing too much. I wouldn't even try to do nothing. I would be like, nah, deuces. I see what you said, but Trump didn't even understand that point. Let's stop projecting our understanding onto what a politician says and then assign genius to them. I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by that, bro. Please clarify for me. I see that. Messi Ronaldo says the reason why the USA is obligated to support Ukraine is because USA with European countries forced Ukraine to give up their nuclear weapons in 1990 in exchange of protection. We're not forced to do that, because if you think about it, NATO also made a pact with Russia, like I said, that predates the 1990 exchange that we did with them. So, and that promise was to not expand NATO. And I think we tried. I don't know if it was Jimmy Dore that reported on that. I think we tried to expand NATO, and we expanded at least 26 times, I believe, ever since it was created, which goes against what we agree with Russia. So trust me, we don't want to go against Russians. Ukraine, like I said earlier, people can get offended, but that's a lesser country. I think we don't have a problem, with Ukrainians like that. If they want to feel salty, that's on them. Now, as a result of that, right, there's a lot of European countries that started disagreeing with President Trump. Hey, Rakim, what's up? Start disagreeing with President Trump, and I want you guys to give me your opinion about this. I'm gonna tell you straight up, this is hypocrisy. But anyway, it says the world leaders react to Trump and Zelensky heated press conference. Now, you see Donald Tusk, dear Ukrainian friends, you're not alone. Pedro Sanchez, Ukraine, Spain stands with you. The truth is simple. Russia invaded Ukraine. Russia is the aggressor. Ukraine defends its freedom and ours. We stand with Ukraine. That's the president of Moldova. Ukraine, you will never walk alone. That's Lithuania. Sweden stands with Ukraine. You're not only fighting for your freedom, but also for all Europe. Salva Ukraini. That is Swedish, people. Now, Germany says Ukraine is not alone. Germany, together with our European allies, stands united alongside Ukraine and against the Russian aggression. Ukraine can build on unwavering support from Germany, Europe, and beyond. Their defense of democracy and their quest for peace and security is ours. It continues, okay? Ireland does the same. Portugal does the same. The president of EUC, Norway, Deputy Prime Minister of Foreign Affairs, of European Affairs and Development of Cooperation of Belgium, Netherlands, Sweden again, Estonia, the Czech Republic, etc., etc. Now, if you guys, I don't know if you guys notice, like a lot of people are supporting. A lot of these European countries are quote unquote supporting Ukraine. And this is my thing, and I'm sorry that I keep reiterating this, but guys, let's see. Let me ask you something before I point out to this thing. You guys saw all the European countries that are supporting Ukraine. Let me ask you something. Imagine that I'm here on this channel and I tell you tomorrow, hey, my leg got broken and I'm trying to sue Honda because it happened on my car. My car happens to be a Honda, and that CRV was trash. It was poorly designed, and the CRV tells me no. The Honda dealership tells me no, you don't have a case. You just exited wrong and you mess it up yourself. There's video about that, but I run out of money, and you guys are watching me and giving me your support. But then I have a neighbor that alongside MK is the one funding my lawyers to sue Honda. And Honda tells me, hey, I can give you a settlement of like $100K for your leg. Let's say that to just call it quits. And I'm like, no, I want 7 million. And I have MK and a neighbor helping me out. And they're like, oh my God, like my pockets are dry and I cannot continue. So I'm going to help you get that settlement of 100K and just call it quits. And you guys come in and start tweeting that you support me and that I should keep going, and that I'm not alone, and that keep going against Honda. Do you guys really think that you will be supporting me, or do you think that you're just fluffing me up so I continue to drain my neighbors and MK's pockets? Because that is funny coming from the group of people that did not help Ukraine as much as the United States. Because I look up, I was like, you know what? Let me just try to see how much money these European countries that are all of a sudden the avengers of Ukraine, how much money they provide against us, the United States. All those European countries, and I highlighted here is for the slow people in the back. The European countries have provided $132 billion in aid. And I'm going to tell you what type of aid: military, financial, and humanitarian. And if you have done humanitarian work, you know that humanitarian work mostly goes to the NGO and a little bit just goes to the country. So let's say roughly 90 billion they've given, which I think 40% of this is humanitarian. So let's say 90 billion. How much American has provided? It says as of December 2024, and the United States has provided $114 billion. Most of the U.S. funding supports American industries who produce weapons and military equipment. So basically, Raytheon. So we've given these people $114 billion in weapons. And all those countries that claim that, oh, Ukraine is not alone. Ukraine is not alone. The U.S. is just wrong. Donald Trump is evil. He's a clown. Blah, 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 blah. Bro, we are the ones funding Zelensky's ego. But if you want to cover the bill, we also are not going to protest. So all those European countries, you didn't have to tweet. And I know I'm just a speck in the air on YouTube. Right? But to those European leaders, you didn't even have to tweet. Just open your wallet. Just open the wallet. Match America. Donald Trump said that, as a matter of fact, on that press conference. Open your wallet and donate the same amount. Let's see how your people react. Let's do that. Germany, for years, have not even contributed to NATO to the extent that we have. They keep even funding Russia by purchasing goods from them and fuel. If you know, you know. If you've been following this news, you know that's right. That's right. So they've been funding the same people that we've been funding to keep them quote unquote safe from. So my call is to any American, any European, I'm sorry, that's like, oh yeah, we're better than those filthy Americans that just don't want to help. They're selfish. They're so evil. Yeah. Open your wallet. You are free to donate everything you have in your house to defend Ukraine. Go ahead. The ball is in your court. We've done enough. We've done enough, more than enough. If you agree with me, put a number 1 on the chat. If you agree that European countries should stop giving lip service and start putting money into it, put a number 1 in the chat, because that's what's up. It's easy. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, right? Talk is cheap. I should make a t-shirt that says that. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. But how about you start opening your wallet? Start opening your wallet. Contribute equal to America. Unless you are putting 114 billion. How many countries? Let me check. How many countries was that? I think it was like 10 countries. Let's see. Let's count the countries with me. Let's see how many billions Ukraine's gonna get now with all those countries supporting. Let's see. Okay, so we have 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16 countries. Look, 16 countries that need to contribute $114 billion to do that. Because one thing I am getting pissed off about is, like, I get it. You don't have to like Donald Trump. And yeah, he's not everybody's cup of tea and blah blah blah. There's a lot of things he does that I think he's fucking crazy and whatever, but he's still calling for peace. And regardless if you like Donald Trump or not, he is America's president. And I am tired and I'm about fed up with people disrespecting people's leaders. I don't like Macron. I don't. But I don't go out of my way to disrespect him online or in public, because that is French people's president. I don't like Trudeau. I don't like Claudia in Mexico. I used to like AMLO. I don't like Claudia. I don't go out of my way to disrespect her online, and she does stupid stuff. And I can continue. I don't like Maduro from Venezuela, and I don't go out of my way to disrespect him online, because that's somebody else's president. And I think we're forgetting the respect. And just because Americans feel passionate about their politics online, that doesn't give people the right to disrespect their president. And I think it's getting out of hand. And I'm not trying to sound like imperialist, but I think Americans, this has come to a point in which every single one of us is going to get disrespected in some capacity, like I mentioned earlier. And if you've gotten disrespected in some capacity at this point, just get used to it. But to be honest, don't change your mind because of it. We're going to be disrespected for a while because previous generations and previous administrations have allowed people to feel comfortable and in receiving aid from us, that they have taken it for granted, and they think Americans have to pay for their stuff. We don't have to. We don't have to. And if me saying no makes me SOB today, then so be it. I am. Because we can't afford it. We just I don't know if people can understand that. We cannot afford it. I see that Messi Ronaldo says Chernobyl is an excuse. Ukraine still have nuclear central that produce electricity for their century. Chernobyl happened way after Ukraine gave up their nuke. Yeah. Sandy Spitz says the most generous view of how much the EU has given Ukraine versus what the US alone has given is about equal. So all the countries in the EU combined. Ukraine says not alone will pay back zero. Yeah, they are, look, these European nations are just looking at the US the same way I was telling you guys Ukraine was. Remember when I was saying that I think Ukraine was a lesser country? That is the sentiment I'm catching. And I get that European nations see America as a baby country that used to be under European control. I get that. This country is like 300 something years old. I get that. But that does not mean we're going to have to be in your beck and call and always be the tribute of Europe. We're not Europe's tribute anymore. And I think as millennials and Gen Z, we have to endure the disrespect, the disagreement, the whatever the hell these people want to bring, raise hell, wreak havoc. I don't care what you do. We're going to have to endure that so that people can understand we are not the world's police. We are not the world's tribute. We don't have to put you before us. We're not expendable. The days of the king here in this country are gone. Long gone. America is not no one's tribute. And if we have to pull out of a lot of stuff, we will. If people are not watching the amount of support this man got on the election, they're not catching on as to the sentiment of your average American. We are fed up. I didn't support Donald Trump this time around. You guys know I supported him previously. This time around, I didn't thought he earned my vote. But I'm also not gonna sit here and say, oh, he's wrong for what he's doing. No, he's right. He's 100% right for what he's doing. And I support him on that decision, even though I didn't vote for him this time around. Messi said, I agree that USA should focus on America first, but you should not force other countries to be weak by fooling them into U.S. dependency. Messy. Like I said again, I am a Puerto Rican, born, raised on the island. And America is not fooling anybody into dependency. America is an empire. And empires are going to empire anytime. I get why losers of wars do not like this concept, because my country, my little island, is part of the loser team of a war with America. I get that. But I cannot be here and say, oh, we should not force other countries. That's the way the world is. We just have to learn how to live in it. That's just what's up. We can be pissed. It's a choice. You can be pissed about it, or you can choose to work with your reality. It's a choice. America doesn't owe nobody nothing. That's just what it is. And American people either. That's just how things are. Yeah. If you cannot rely on yourself for defense or commerce or politics, should you even be a country? I don't think you should. That's just my opinion. That's my humble opinion. If you cannot provide your people those 3 basic necessities, should you even be a country? I don't think you should. I don't think so. And to be honest, I am very proud today of what President Trump, and especially JD Vance. JD Vance did a great job today. Brotep said, no, that is incorrect. That's not how the world anymore. It's why we have things like Geneva Conventions and other international bodies. Brotep, I would believe that if we wouldn't have the countries that you and me have. We come from countries that prove that is how the world works. It's just what, and I'm gonna point this out. We're in the West. Can we concentrate in the West? America is the empire of the West. Okay, let's concentrate on the West, because Eastern Europe is showing themselves in their quote unquote support for Ukraine without opening my wallet and stuff. They clearly are exercising their hierarchy over the West in the way they're like being condescending to our president. That's just what's up. So yes, the countries we have now are a product of the old war actions. Brotep, Puerto Rico became a colony of the United States in 1898. We were granted citizenship so that we could participate, and America could source out body tributes for World War I in 1917. Obama took our rights to vote by imposing a dictatorship over Puerto Rico in 2011. And it got implemented in 2016. This is not old world actions. This is actions of today. Just because they changed the name from colony to territory, that does not change anything. The US still has an embargo on Cuba today. We're still performing coups on other countries today. What are we talking about? War is war. You still go to war, you still get killed. Now it was with cannons before, and arrows and swords. Today is with gunpowder, nuclear weapons, nukes, blah, blah, blah. But the war is the war, and then empires are going to empire anytime. That's just how it is. And like I said, we have to learn how to be humble and understand that where we rank, and your mouth has to match where you rank. Your attitude has to match where you rank. Zelensky needs to understand that. Ukrainians need to understand that. Americans that support Zelensky and support Ukraine's sovereignty needs to understand that too. They have every right to defend themselves. Yes, I agree with that. They have every right to uphold their sovereignty 100%, just not with our money. That's it. If Zelensky wants to sacrifice every Ukrainian man, it's sad. And I feel for Ukrainians, but that's his choice. Sandy Spitz says Zelensky has canceled Ukraine's election and banished all opposition party members. Ukraine is not a democracy currently. No other current democracy has done this, even during the wars. Yeah, 100%. 100%. When I say dependency, I mean forcing countries to give up their weapons that they already have, because Ukraine used to be a country that can defend themselves. Messi. America, let me calm down. If they could defend themselves, let me just put this out there. If they could defend themselves, why they got themselves in the mess where they had to even surrender to what America dictated to them in 1990? Because if I'm better, like, look right now, we're in disagreement with Venezuela. We're in disagreement with Brazil. We're in disagreement with Russia. We're in disagreement with North Korea. We're in disagreement with China. Why do you think the United States of America is not forcing those countries to bend the knee? Can we? Or those countries are the big dogs just like us? Can we force them to bend the knee? If Ukraine was forced to bend the knees for a reason. If you were conquered, you were conquered. Just accept that. And I get it. Like I said, it's not what people want to hear. I get that. You're salty. I get that. Have a donut and keep living. Brotep says, now huge countries cannot take over smaller sovereign lands. Wars of conquest are no longer allowed. It's why justifications have to be manufactured, like the war on drugs or liberating Iraq, etc. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I agree with that. But that is according to who? Because everything can be worked out. If you think about it, the Parties Treaty of 1898, like I said, those colonial laws already existed back in 1838. In 1837, there was a treaty signed between Spain and France, I want to say, because colonial laws change in the early 1800s. This is not a 1900s laws. And if you were to release a colony on its own recognizances, you could not just release it and let them be according to international rules or international laws. You had to establish a commerce for them, and you had to establish a legislation and a constitution. Puerto Rico, I'm taking just my example, right? I cannot speak for everybody. But in our example, we already had the Puerto Rican peso, and we had already our constitution by the time we were given as a gift to the United States. So when we talk about these things, and we talk about war freedom, and how we're gonna grant people freedom, and we cannot take over lands, blah, 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 blah. We are human. Human nature is about conquering and measuring and competition. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. This is not new. This is never going to change. In 3125 or 3025, a millennia from now, we're still going to see the same problem. Some people are going to want to rule over others, and if you're smaller or defenseless or weaker or whatever the hell they want to call it, then they're going to conquer you, and they're going to find a loophole to do so. So again, I get why people do not like to be the conquered. I get that. But conquering is what man has done from the very beginning of time. This is not new. This is called human nature. And we come up with better weapons, with better things. That's just how it is. And Zelensky needs a lot of humble pie. He's going to need that, because if not, I'm telling you, he's going to end up, and you guys know I don't like to predict things, because like I said with Diddy, that he was going to end up in prison in less than 6 months, and it happened. And a lot of other things that I've said have happened too. Guys, it is scary. I don't think we should keep giving Ukraine weapons. And before I dive into my tinfoil hat conspiracy, I'm going to say, Zelensky is going to either be removed, or he's going to end up having to flee Ukraine, because his people are not going to like what's coming to him. Okay? His people are not going to back him up into this ego wars he has with Putin. Okay? That's just what's up. He's going to be run out of Ukraine. Mark my words. He's going to end up, like I said, fighting for his virginity with Macron and Brigitte. Okay? In France. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Ukrainians are not going to keep dying for this man's ego. Now, another thing I want to say, and I think I have like a few minutes so I can show you guys something. I'm going to show you guys something we posted, and I showed this to MK like earlier today. In 2015, The Guardian posted a news regarding Ukraine. And this was 2015, it's 10 years ago. Okay, if you see, this article is more than 10 years old. This is The Guardian. This is not Denise, right? So don't take it out on me. And The Guardian, this guy, Oliver Boldo, February 6, 2015, he published this that says, "Welcome to Ukraine, the most corrupt nation in Europe." The Guardian exposed Ukraine for being one of the most, if not the most corrupt nation in Europe. I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat conspiracy out there, guys, because I think, again, it's very cute to live unplugged from what the real world is, because America has kept its citizens safe from a lot of stuff, right? What if, and this is a what if, this is not what's happening, this is just me speculating, but you guys have not connected the dots. Think about it. What if Ukraine decides to flip on us because whatever reason, and all the weaponry we have provided them, that's American weapons, ends up in the hands of Russians as an exchange for money and peace and prosperity? And now Russia has more military weapons to attack than ever. Have you guys thought about that? And let's not forget that Joe Biden, sweet Joe did an awesome deal in exchanging the Merchant of Death with Russia, and we got a mediocre basketball player in return. I'm just gonna leave it there. You connect the dots. I'm just Bro's upset. Denise is cashing Russian check, yo. He says Denise is buying Louis Vuitton bags with Russia. You know it. You know it. I'm flying first class. You know what? Let me sip on my wine a little bit. I'm telling you. We better start learning Russian, guys. Connect the dots yourself. I don't want YouTube to come cancel me. I don't want to be part of Microsoft's farm. But you connect the dots. They have the merchant of death. They are right now trying to do a business with Donald Trump. Zelensky doesn't like Trump right now. It's rumored that the powers that be in Ukraine are trying to impeach Zelensky. So that means they want to end this war. And if we don't provide that avenue, but Russia does, what happens to our weapons? Do you guys remember what happened with our weapons in Afghanistan? It's scary. As an American, stop pandering to everything that's against you. Let's not forget, America funded the Al Qaeda also under the same terms of Ukraine. 9/11, you guys don't remember? Don't ring a bell? I'm just gonna leave it out there. You connect the dots. Like I said, you connect the dots. Dave says, we got guns too. Yeah, we do. The thing is that why do we want better guns in the hands of Russians? Why? For free? Why? Rota says the Taliban has Black Hawk shoppers now. I never thought I'd see the day. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, if you don't connect the dots of, man, thank God for Donald Trump. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope he stand on his square and don't give an inch to this brat, because like I said on previous streams with the migrants, if Donald Trump doesn't deliver and get these MFers out of this country in a timely fashion, Americans already have their pitchforks ready, their ticket torches. It's going down because we cannot take it anymore. And I'm not saying we're going to get violent or nothing. What I'm saying is this country needs reform, and it needs to happen very fast. And I guess people that voted for Trump voted because they thought he was going to deliver it fast enough for them. And so far it's going down. I hope it continues that way. I don't like the budget. I will make another stream to talk about it in depth, because I think a lot of people are thinking that it's gonna happen in a certain way when it's not. I think it's screwing the middle class, but I'll talk more in the future about that. So if you care to join me, I do random streams out here on Latin Explaining. We're gonna get to the nitty gritty on it soon. But like I said, connect the dots. Like Brotep said, I'm gonna be buying my Louis on Russian rubles. You guys connected up, guys. I appreciate everybody that has come through. Please like this video, so it doesn't cost you anything. I'm not asking for people to donate. If you want to, I'm gonna put my cash app. If you want to donate $1, $2, 50 cents, whatever you want, you're welcome to do so. But just like the video and subscribe, share it. Share it with your friends. Bring friends over, they can subscribe to. Guys, it has come down to this. I appreciate everybody that's come through. Thank you so much for doing so. I appreciate everybody that's new. Shout out to everybody that's been rocking in the comment section. This has been another episode of Latin Explaining. I'll see you guys very soon. We're gonna discuss first what the pending show that I have with you guys, how Donald Trump and President Roosevelt have a lot of stuff in common, and why I think they're similar. And then we're gonna discuss this crazy budget that just passed. Okay, so stay tuned. subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, make sure it's all. So when I go live, since I'm randomly live, you guys can tune in and give me your opinions on that, if you're pro or against it. Also, don't forget to comment on this video. It has been a nice one. Make sure you follow me on all my social media. Again, I'm randomly active, but I bring you the real tea. Yeah, it's been a good one, guys. This has been Denise Gonzalez for another episode of Latinsplaining. Take care, stay safe, and God bless you. Bye-bye.